start to see a lot of fashion brands are coming out with like worn wear equivalent arms where you can basically send your products back to then be resold, which is really exciting, and obviously still a work in progress. But I think that that's something that we also are dealing with on a daily basis of how do we be profitable and also continue to make an impact. And yeah, they're definitely conflicting. And I think there is a world in which, personally, I believe there's a world in which where they don't need to be conflicting, but historically, it's just always been about profitability. And so
I think it's important to put a pin in this conversation that like even a brand, who's, been, successful over the last, few years is still doing the scrappy one-on-one touch points. And of course, the ones that reach many, right? But also the one-on-one touch points. Do you happen to know, can you kind of shed light on how that partnership came about, like that US, track and field partnership? I know you mentioned like you went there and interviewed, but do you know, like, was it something that happened organically or was it something where like Nadia went out to pitch that particular team? Like, do you happen to know how that like came about?
I actually don't. I don't know if it came internally or if they messaged us. It's truly a 50-50 shot. I really am sorry. It was a year in the works essentially.
Wow.
Because of like legal work that needed to get done. So it just happened so long ago that I don't remember if it was a connect. So I can't speak to that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's fine. Okay, so tell me, so that's like a really exciting campaign that's coming out, which I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to have like rippling effects.
So the campaign is actually the track and field. We announced that a couple months ago. So we have we have existing content that is flowing through TikTok, and then they even had a competition in New York City recently in June or early in June, where our social media manager went and we had a table and she interviewed some of the athletes and then also some just attendees who were like it was a competition for the pros, and so a lot of like up and coming pro athletes were going, and so she was interviewing like younger menstruators who were pursuing that route, and so she said it was really, really interesting, and then also a great way to like connect with the community.
Absolutely, super cool. So what's on the horizon? Like, are there any new products coming out? What's up next?
Yeah, I think that's a great loaded question. I think something that comes to mind that we're really excited about is truly like product innovation. So something that we really haven't discussed that is also integral to August is sustainability. So how can we build our brand and build a business while maintaining a positive impact on the environment and also society? And I think like we've really touched on the social part in terms of how can we create a positive impact and educate the world and destigmatize shame. But also we sell tampons and pads, and how can we make those products as eco-friendly as possible? And so when we launched our products, we made sure that they were made with 100% organic cotton. We use BPA-free plastic applicators because nobody likes cardboard, and we really were trying to avoid plastic. So we found this happy medium of BPA-free, and then we originally launched with just like normal pad wrappers, but then a few months in realized that we can make BPI certified compostable pad wrappers. So you can compost your pad wrapper in a municipal compost, which is so awesome. It's so awesome. Cool. And one of my favorite, I am the biggest stan of our pads. I love the August pads. I use them. My flow is not super heavy, and I will use them on our heaviest flow and leak proof all the time. They are just incredible and so comfortable. We actually did a focus group at a high school in Brooklyn. And one girl literally shouted out, "I love your pads. Like, you can do cartwheels in these pads. Like, they're just the thinnest, most
Oh
absorbent."
my
So
gosh. That
that's
is
my
so
little
cool.
pro rant on
Yes,
August
I love
pads.
that.
But something that we're really excited about is like continuing to innovate on how we can make our products more eco-friendly. And so we are thinking about how to use like sugar cane and much more natural materials that can that can break down quicker and easier. And so that's something that like we're really excited about and trying to work on, as we're still like, one of our biggest goals is to become profitable. And so
Yes.
thinking like really trying to find this synergy between being a profitable company, but also impact, which is so hard.
Hard. So
So
hard.
hard.
It's a constant conflict. I was just reading something in a book, like some book that was speaking exactly on this topic, on the conflict between kind of being true to your bigger mission, your why, the bigger impact that you're trying to make, but also being a profitable business. Like the two essentially they're conflicting.
Yeah. I just read an article in the Business of Fashion about Patagonia and how
that was it. That's
that's
what
what you read.
yes.
Okay.
It was an example in a book on Patagonia.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this article was called like The Paradox of Patagonia, and essentially how their mission statement is in the business to save the planet, but they're selling like to consume. And so it's how can you be profitable, and like how can you be a for-profit business but also preaching about impact like that? And so one thing that they were talking about is Ryan Gellert, the CEO, is really going to try and push hard for Worn Wear, which is their arm of the company that basically resells. Like if you buy a new Patagonia vest, you can send it back to Worn Wear, and then they'll resell it. And so it's basically like promoting like secondhand fashion. And so they have a VC firm arm where they invest in companies that are aligned with Patagonia's mission. And they're investing in like tech companies that are promoting this. And like if you go onto places like Gap or Old Navy, don't quote me on those companies, but you'll start to see a lot of fashion brands are coming out with like Worn Wear equivalent arms where you can basically send your products back to then be resold, which is really exciting. And obviously still a work in progress, but I think that that's something that we also are dealing with on a daily basis of how do we be profitable and also continue to make an impact. And they're definitely conflicting. And I think there is a world in which, personally, I believe there's a world in which where they don't need to be conflicting, but historically, it's just always been about profitability. And so as we're now incorporating social and environmental impact into the conversation, it's going to conflict until we find solutions to enable them to not. So